Hey, good morning. We're sitting here, Missouri, running their trap line, and our very first trap we came and looked at for raccoons. I ended up finding my trap about 7 foot, well 6 foot for the trap, and then on up there is how I had it around the tree there, and then all the way around this, just been continuously scratched. I was in here yesterday and rebaited it, and one thing I can think of is I got a raccoon on there, and I saw a whole bunch of scratch marks all over the place, and that guy he just went all the way up that tree as high as he could, and it caught there. And as you guys can see, I don't want to get a whole lot of my scent in here, but there's a ton of markings all over this tree where something, whatever that was, I'd imagine it was a coon, because most of the time you're only getting a coon or a possum in these traps. But that was the very first time I have ever been in that situation. Kind of really, there's actually maybe a little bit of blood right in there too. Not a whole lot, but I imagine that coon probably just slid his paw right out of there. And most of the time, you'll get those raccoons all the way back up and through here, and they're not going to go anywhere. But that one, that may have just been just a half catch, and he was able to loosen that thing up and get out of there. But that was definitely an interesting find this morning. Moving on to deer hunting wise, I've been seeing quite a bit of deer activity in the mornings when I come out and check the traps, as well as on the Browlings, the K-Links, and the Moultrie cameras. I actually saw one of my big shooters. It was actually yesterday morning at 7:30 on one of my pieces of property, and that was the first time that deer had actually made an appearance back on that particular food plot in quite some time. But it's not necessarily a spot that I want to hunt in the mornings, just because there's a lot of agriculture around there, and those deer out there feeding and then moving back in there during the morning. So what I try to do, especially on some of those what I call staging plots, where I'm trying to get those deer from the transition point from their bedding out to where they're feeding at in the evening. I've got these staging plots that I run Big and Beastie from Frigid Forage, and the deer have been in there every single evening. It looked like a couple of the Moultries running on that particular piece, and he's a dandy for sure. But I've just got the timing right. What I'm planning on doing is hopefully I'll have the right wind coming in here, get the front moving through. I'll need the north wind to jump in there on that particular stand and hunt that deer. But I want to wait until I start seeing that deer on more of a regular pattern of coming in there, every night or every other night, or maybe 2 nights consecutively. And then that's when I'll start making my move or my game plan of, hey, the next north wind that comes through, I'm expecting that deer. I'll know where that deer is coming in and out of without even being in there. That's one of those key things with these cellular trail cam products. It's a game changer. I've been deer hunting for over 25 years now. Been lucky enough to harvest a lot of big mature deer, and even without these cellular cameras. But in the last 2 years since I've been running them, my odds have increased substantially. Not only because I know what pieces of property that are holding my big deer, what big deer are moving into my food plots or moving through my trails, and are they moving during daylight hours? All that is being sent to me, along with when the deer is moving, pressure wise, time wise, what the temperature was, and it just helps me really correlate a good solid game plan to be able to actually hunt that deer. And I've educated myself without even putting any kind of scent whatsoever in that particular piece of property. So I can't say enough. There's a lot of good trail cameras out there. Browning's a big one. I've started using them. You guys see all my videos and everything, but their cellular product, I think it's probably gonna start taking off here before too long. K-Link systems, I use for my big piece of property. I'm talking, 200 to 1,200 acre parcel. those are the products I'm running there. And then once I'm getting into some of the 20, 40, 80, 160, maybe where I've only got 2 or 3 different stand locations, where I'm wanting to just isolate that and not necessarily get a whole bunch of pictures, or videos to show you guys. I'll run those Moultries, and those cameras work out very good. All of them have a different price points, but I think that they've all got their significant value for each one of us as hunters. So waterfowl wise, let's see, I think it was 2 days ago I ended up seeing, I think, 8 or 10 mallards on one of our pond and 6 or 7 on the other. So I think we're gonna need another big front, at least for me to get out there and do some waterfowl hunting. But I'm looking forward to it. We got quite a bit of time still, and there's still quite a bit of time for deer hunting. But right now I've just kind of been taking a break, doing a lot of my trapping here, get that out of the way. Try to get some of these coons and raccoons and bobcats and coyotes out of here, and then that way, once I do identify a deer I'm wanting to target in the evenings, I'm gonna definitely try to jump in the stand as much as I can and see if I can't put another one on the ground and show you guys that. So I think that's all I've got for this week. If I don't do another video before, hopefully you guys all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's, and hopefully you guys are getting out there in nature, and best luck on your guys' upcoming hunt.